यशोदानन्दन व्रजजनरञ्जना यशोदानन्दन व्रजजनरञ्जना यमुनातीरा वनचारी यमुनातीरा वनचारी जयो राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जयो राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर शशि श्रीमद हिज डिवाइन ग्रेस ऐसी भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी शिल प्रभुपाद की जय अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय ग्रंथरा श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय
हरे कृष्णा।
Together we'll recite Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudire Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Neshtaki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nandagopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. Hare Krishna. So we are reading from Canto 3, Chapter 1, entitled Questions by Vidura, text 43. Please repeat behind me. Nunam nipanam trimadotpathanam Mahim muhuschalayatam chamubhihi Vadat prapannarti jihirshayesho Payopikshatam Payopshaktagam Bhagavan Kurunam Nunam nipanam trimadotpathanam Mahim muhuschalayatam chamuhbhi Vadat prapannarti jihirshayesho Payopekshatagam Bhagavan Karunam Nunam nipanam trimadotpathanam Mahim muhuschalayatam chamubhihi Vadhat prapannarti jihirshayesho Pyopekshatagham Bhagavan Kurunam Nunam nipanam trivadotpathanam महिं मुहुश्चालयतां च मूभिः वदात् प्रपन्नार्तिजुहिर्षयेषु पयोपुक्षतागं भगवान् कुरूणाम् नूनं नृपाणां त्रिमदोत्पतानां महीं मुहुश्चालयतां च मूभिः वदात् प्रपन्नातिजहिर्षयेषु प्युपेक्षतागं भगवान् कुरूणाम् नूनं निपाणां त्रिमदोत्पथानां महिं मुहुश्चालयतां च मूभिः वदात् प्रपन्नार्तिजुहिर्षयेषु पयोपेक्षतागं भगवान् कुरूणाम् माताजी नूनं नृपाणां त्रिमदोत्पथानां महिं मुहुश्चालयतां च मूभिः वदात् प्रपन्नातिजुहिर्षयेषु पयोपेक्षतागं भगवान् कुरूणाम् Nunam, of course, Nipanam, of the kings, three, Madotpathanam, going astray out of false pride, Mahim, earth, Muhuhu, constantly, Chalayatam, agitating, Chamubhi, by movement of soldiers, Vadhat, from the act of killing, Prapanna, surrendered, Arti Jahirshaya, willing to relieve the distress of the sufferers, Ishaha, the Lord, Api, in spite of, Upakshat, waited, Agam, offenses, Bhagavan, the Supreme Lord, Kurunam, of the Kurus. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Despite his being the Lord and being always willing to relieve the distress of sufferers, he, Krishna, refrained from killing the Kurus, although they committed all sorts of sins and although he saw other kings constantly agitating the earth by their strong military movements carried out under the dictation of three kinds of false pride. Purport: as declared in Bhagavad Gita, the Lord appears in the mortal world to execute his much needed mission of killing the miscreants and giving protection to the suffering faithful. In spite of that mission, Lord Krishna tolerated the insult to Draupadi by the Kurus and the injustices perpetrated against the Pandavas, as well as insults to himself. The question may be raised, why did he tolerate such injustices and insults in his presence? Why did he not chastise the Kurus immediately? When Draupadi was insulted in the assembly of the Kurus by their attempt to see her naked in the presence of all, the Lord protected Draupadi by supplying an unlimited length of clothing. But he did not chastise the insulting party immediately. This silence of the Lord did not mean, however, that he excused the offenses of the Kurus. There were many other kings on earth who had become very proud of their three kinds of possessions: wealth, education, and followers. And they were constantly agitating the earth by movements of military strength. The Lord was just waiting to get them together on the battlefield of Kurukshetra and kill them all at one time, just to make a shortcut in his killing mission. Godless kings or heads of the states, when puffed up by advancement of material wealth, education, and increase of population, always make a show of military strength and give trouble to the innocent. When Lord Krishna was personally present, there were many such kings all over the world, and thus he arranged for the battle of Kurukshetra. In his manifestation of Vishwarupa, the Lord expressed his mission of killing as follows: I have willingly descended on the earth in my capacity of inexorable time in order to decrease the unwanted population. I shall finish all those who have assembled here except you, the Pandavas. This killing does not wait for you to take part in it. It is already arranged. All will be killed by me. If you want to become famous as the hero of the battlefield and thus enjoy the booty of war, then O Sabyasachi, just become the immediate cause of this killing and thus take the credit. I have already killed all the great warriors, Bhishma, Drona, Jayadratha, Karna, and many other generals. Do not worry. Fight the battle and be famous as a great hero. The Lord always wants to see his devotee as the hero of some episode, which he himself performs. He wanted to see his devotee and friend Arjuna as the hero of the battlefield of Kurukshetra, and thus he waited for all the miscreants of the world to assemble. That and nothing else is the explanation of his waiting. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Sapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamcha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunatham Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyasya Kripa Sindhu Vacha Paridanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shandevadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Sadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna. So I would like to seek the blessings of all the assembled devotees who are assembled here or who are assembled online. So this is a verse is being spoken by Sri Uddhava ji, and he expresses that just in the last verse yesterday, Soham Harer Martya Vidambanena Tisho Ninam Chalayato Vidhatur. So the activities of the Lord are many times bewildering to the people in general and even sometimes to the devotees. So he is expressing certain kind of activities which are bewildering. One example is given in this particular verse, that though there were so many insults and there was so much of injustices that were committed, so much sufferings that the Pandavas had to undergo. But the Lord, He tolerated it for quite some time. Seems that He was not doing anything about it. And the Pandavas suffered for a long time. So, Prabhupada is pointing out what could be the reason. Again, it could be bewildering. What could be the reason for this? So, to remove that bewilderment, Prabhupada here gives two reasons in this purport. Why did the Lord tolerated all the injustices of the Kurus towards his devotees, Pandavas, to the extent that how Draupadi was insulted, that was like worse than death for her, that kind of insult. Of course, Krishna saved the situation immediately, but it did not punish the miscreants immediately. As Prabhupada says, Lord says, Parittanaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkritam. I come to punish the miscreant. But in this particular case, he delayed for quite some time. So therefore, what is the reason of this delay? People can be bewildered who read the scriptures. So, Prabhupada gives the reason that the Lord wanted to bring all of these miscreants together on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. And such a beautiful insight Prabhupada gives. Just to make a shortcut in his killing mission. So, more efficient way of doing things, more productive. So, that is one reason. Then also the second reason which is even more important is the Lord always wants to see his devotee as the hero of some episode. The Lord wants to make his devotee as a hero of some episode which he himself performed. And Prabhupada gives an example that in his Vishwarupa form he should have killed all of them. They do not depend upon your participating in the war. But still, if you participate, then you take all the credit. And the Lord wants to give the credit. And He loves when His devotees are glorified and His devotees are given the credit. So, that is another magnanimous nature of the Lord, that He always wants to see His devotee as a hero of some episode which He Himself performs. And then Prabhupada says, he wanted to see his devotee and friend Arjuna as the hero of the battlefield of Kurukshetra, and thus he waited for all the miscreants of the world to assemble. This and nothing else is the explanation of his waiting. So, the activities of the Lord, as Uddhavji is expressing, are inconceivable. What is the meaning of the word inconceivable in general? This term comes so often in the scriptures. The word achintya. The word achintya comes. So, what is the meaning of the word achintya? Achintya khalu ye bhava na tam starakena yojayet. Achintya means that one cannot understand. The literal meaning achintya means beyond your imagination, beyond your chintan, achintya. So, the word achintya, inconceivable, means by the strength of our own mind and intelligence we cannot understand. It doesn't mean that one cannot understand, absolutely, that's not the meaning. But by one's strength of own mind and intelligence one cannot understand. That means it can be understood when it is revealed by the Lord, or it is revealed by the pure devotee. They can reveal the truth. On our own attempts, on our own strength, we may not be able to understand. Also, or another meaning of achintya is, many times we cannot immediately understand. Like even in devotees, we have faith. The Lord is always merciful. Lord always protects His devotees. We were discussing this episode, and Prabhupada was emphatically saying in the purport, just some time back, that there is no doubt about the Lord's protection to His devotees. Anyone, anywhere in this universe who is executing devotion, who is executing devotional service, will always be protected by the Lord. There is no doubt. And then that time, the devotees are being harassed in, Bangladesh episode has been going on. And many devotees raised questions. How can, Prabhupada is saying the devotee will always be protected by the Lord. How can devotees are being persecuted here? This question was naturally coming. So therefore, yes,
Let me show you Glovo. Order your favorite food and make the night na Skodiako even better. I'm delivered. Download Glovo and order anything you want, we'll deliver.
the Lord's activities are inconceivable. Right? That is one thing, meaning we cannot understand why the Lord does what He does so immediately. It may take time. Just like here Prabhupada says, He did not take any immediate action. So in the immediate sense, it may be very bewildering. But if the devotees keep faith on the statement of the scriptures, on the statement of sadhus, it will become evident. It will be revealed. So it may not be immediately revealed. It may take time to be revealed that why the Lord did what He did. I remember one of the parents who lost their child. Now for the parents who lose their child is the greatest pain in this world. Who lost their young child, they could not reconcile. They just could not quote that Krishna is merciful and He protects His devotees, right? They had the faith, but they could not quote it. They could not say from deep within the heart that somewhere that conviction was lost. Although they believed it, they were not doubting as such, but then it was not a firm conviction of the heart because it was too intense experience. And then as the time passed, they continued rendering devotional service. After 12 years, it took 12 years for them to reconcile and be able to say that yes, Krishna is merciful. What He did also was His mercy. Yes, He protects His devotees. Right? To again be able to reconcile that took another 12 years of sadhana, intense sadhana practice. And then they could say that yes, that was also Krishna's mercy. But again, we cannot understand the things immediately when they happen. It may take time. So Krishna's activities are inconceivable in the immediate, the short term. But if we keep faith in the long term, we'll be able to appreciate. As also being explained in this particular context. Or they are inconceivable, the third aspect of being inconceivable. Though we can, yes, bhaktya mama vijanati, we cannot understand, Krishna, His activity is inconceivable. But Krishna says, bhaktya mama vijanati. By devotional service, one can understand me. Though we can understand Krishna by rendering bhakti from the Guru, Sadhu, Shastras, by keeping faith, still we cannot understand Him fully. So inconceivable. To some extent, to a great extent, to the degree the Lord reveals, to the degree His great devotees reveal, we can understand. But still, no one can fully understand Krishna. So that is, He remains inconceivable in that way also. So, yes, to the degree we surrender to Him, to that degree we understand Him. But still we cannot fully understand Him. But we can fully surrender to Him. We can fully surrender to Him, and though we cannot fully understand Him. And therefore Prabhupada writes very profoundly in the 8th chapter, 1st canto, the prayers of Kunti Maharani. He says, it is easy to attain Krishna. One can attain Krishna than to understand Krishna. So one can attain Krishna, but one cannot fully understand Krishna. One can attain Krishna fully, but one cannot understand Krishna fully. So therefore, that also is the test of surrender, and that is also the test of one's faith. But a very beautiful point that is mentioned in this particular purport of Prabhupada, he says the Lord always wants to make His devotee as a hero of some episode which he himself performs. So like Lord likes to give, he loves to give credit to others. The Lord loves to empower his devotees to the extent that he wants his devotees to even outdo himself. Devotees can do things greater than his own self. And the Lord loves to witness. The Lord loves to witness. Like we talk about in this world, first of all, self-empowerment. Self-empowerment. Yes, important, self-empowerment is important. But then the leaders are taught you empower others. You empower others. And that considered very important leadership quality, that you empower others. But even if there is a great leader who empower others, or a CEO is empowering somebody, will he empower someone to the extent that this person can outdo himself? Okay? So that is very rare. You may empower somebody to come up and so on, but not that a person may outdo your own self. And if a person does it, then you may externally appreciate, but there will be envy within the heart. But the Lord, he empowers his devotees to outdo himself, and he takes great pleasure and relishes that. So I want to like to narrate one story from Chaitanya Charitamrita on this particular theme. How the Lord Chaitanya especially, he empowers his devotees and relishes when he sees that his devotees can even outdo himself. So once a Brahmana named Pradyumna Mishra was staying in Jagannath Puri. He approached Lord Chaitanya. And he spoke with great humility. He said, my Lord, I am a householder, I am very lowly. Somehow by great fortune, I have obtained your association. I want to hear Krishna Katha from you. Krishna Katha shuni bare mor ichha hai. Krishna Katha kaha more hai asaday. I want to hear Krishna Katha, therefore please be merciful and speak Krishna Katha to me. And Lord Chaitanya gives an amazing reply. Prabhu kahe na Krishna Katha ami nahi jani. Sabe Ramananda jani tara mukhe shuni. So Lord Chaitanya, who is none other than Krishna, he says, I don't know Krishna Katha. Krishna disclaimer, I don't know Krishna Katha. This is quite insightful, because though Prabhupada says there are two kinds of Krishna Katha, one is spoken by Krishna and one is spoken by his devotees about Krishna. There is a Krishna Katha, Bhagavad Gita is a Krishna Katha spoken by Krishna. And Bhagavatam is Krishna Katha spoken by the devotees of Krishna. Which is more relishable? Bhagavatam is more relishable. Pibat Bhagavatam Rasamalayam. So therefore, the devotees are the proprietors. They are the authorized dealers to distribute Krishna Katha. So Lord gives that portfolio mainly to his devotees, though he may speak briefly about himself, but then his devotees elaborate Krishna Katha. Therefore Lord says, I don't know Krishna Katha. He gives a disclaimer. Ramananda Rai knows Krishna Katha, and even when I want to hear from Krishna Katha, I go to him and hear. And there is another beautiful verse where Prabhupada again emphasized this particular point. This is in relation to how the devotees, the Krishna Katha is actually more relishable when heard from devotees of the Lord. In the verse, Satam prasangan mama virya samvido bhavanti hrit kannada sayana katha, Prabhupada says, the beautiful translation of that verse. This is the translation from CC. The Bhagavatam has a different translation, same verse. CC has a different translation, both done by Prabhupada. So Prabhupada translates this verse, Satam prasangan mama virya samvido. He says, the spiritual powerful message of Godhead can be properly discussed only in a society of devotees, and it is greatly pleasing to hear in that association. If one hears from devotees, the way of transcendental experience quickly opens, and gradually one attains firm faith that in due course develops into attraction and devotion. So, hearing from devotees, the Krishna Katha becomes even more, it becomes sweeter, it becomes more relishable. Shukhamukhadamrita drava samyutam pibat bhagatam rasam alayam. So in this way, Lord Chaitanya also says, I don't know Krishna Katha. You have to hear Krishna Katha from Ramanand Rai. I also hear from him. And then Lord appreciates him. Bhagya tomar Krishna Katha shunite hai man Ramananda pashayai karaha shravan. He says, it's certainly very great. You are very fortunate that you have this desire to hear Krishna Katha. Therefore, you go to Ramananda Rai now. Again, he tells him, you go to Ramananda Rai. Krishna Katha ruchi tomar bada bhagyavan. Yar Krishna Katha ruchi sei bhagyavan. So Lord Chaitanya says, very fortunate. You are indeed so fortunate that you have this desire to hear about Krishna. Anyone who wishes to hear about Krishna, that person is certainly very fortunate. Actually, the person who has amongst there is a speaker, there is an inquirer, and there is a hearer. In fact, Krishna Katha is like the Ganges. Ganges purifies 3 worlds. Similarly, Krishna Katha is the flow of Krishna Katha is like Ganges, which purifies the speaker, the inquirer, and the hearer. Purusham tinpunatahi pichakam vaktaram shrotrim tatpad salilam yatha. Vasudeva Katha Prashna Purusham tinpunatahi. This Krishna Katha purifies these 3. But actually, especially the person, it's easy to get taste to speak Krishna Katha. But a person who has taste to hear Krishna Katha, that is person is even more fortunate. So therefore, here in Pradyumna Mishra, Lord Chaitanya in 2 verses, one after another glorifies that you have got a desire and a taste for hearing Krishna Katha. This is your great fortune. This is certainly very fortunate. So this is something we should pray to the Lord for. This is all great fortune will arise by having this desire, by having this slight taste to hear about Krishna. And then Lord Chaitanya quotes a verse from Bhagavatam. Dharmaha sunishtitaha pumsam vishvaksena katha suyaha notpadyed yadiratim shrama eva hi kevalam. So we are executing so many duties, so many spiritual practices. If they do not culminate in having the taste to hear about Krishna, then it's all shrama eva hi kevalam. So Pradyumna Mishra felt encouraged. He was inspired by the Lord and he went to Ramanand Rai. And he went to the meeting room of Ramanand Rai, and the servant was there who attended to him. And the servant asked him, you can please sit down. And he asked him, where is Ramanand Rai? And then the servant informed, Ramanand Rai has composed a drama. And he is making his own drama, Jagannath Vallabh Natak. He is making his drama being rehearsed by 2 Devakanyas. So these Devakanyas, they are professional and devotional both. They are both professional and devotional dancing girls. They express the meanings of various songs and compositions by dancing and enacting before Lord Jagannath. So they perform especially for the pleasure of Jagannath. So now Ramanand Rai has composed this drama, and he wants this drama to be performed before Jagannath by these 2 Devakanyas. So he's making them rehearse this drama. So he has taken these 2 Devakanyas in a solitary place. And not just that, he also informs him So Pradyumna Mishra sits for some time actually. Then, and it's quite some time, Ramananda Rai has not returned back. So Pradyumna Mishra further inquires, tell me what all, how he all makes them rehearse and etc. So there are some further details. So the servant informs, Ramananda Rai personally bathes these two, Devakanyas. He personally massages their body with fragrant oils. He personally dresses these two Devakanyas, personally decorates them with the ornaments. And still, his mind, there is no vikar in his mind, there is no agitation, there is no sex agitation in his mind. So though he is in a male body, and he personally performs all this services, but he is nirvikar, his mind is untransformed. And it's mentioned, yeah. So Pradyumna Mishra gets to know all this, and he waits for some time, and then almost quite late in the afternoon, Ramananda Rai returns to the assembly. As soon as Ramananda Rai comes, since Pradyumna Mishra is a Brahmana, Ramananda Rai offers his pranams to him. Ramananda Rai offers his pranams to him, and मिश्रेरे नमस्करे करी समान करिया निवेदन करे किछु विनीत हइया. So he offered his obeisances, and Ramananda Rai spoke to Pradyumna Mishra. What does he say? बहुषण आइला मोरे केहा न कहिला तुम्हारा चरण मोर अपराध हइला. Ramananda Rai says, oh, you came here quite some time back. You waited for a long time, I understand. My servant told me you came almost before noon, and it's quite late in the afternoon. For several hours you have been waiting. I did not know that you were here and you waited for such a long time, and thus Tomara Charana Mur Aparadha Haila. I have committed this offense, though unknowingly, but I have committed this offense towards you. Just see the sensitivity of Ramananda Rai. So because Pradyumna Mishra is a respectable devotee, and he didn't know that he is waiting, but he had to wait for a long time. There was an inconvenience caused to him. So Ramananda Rai apologizes, saying, it is my offense. Just to see the sensitivity over here. So one thing we learn is, being sensitive amongst the Vaishnava dealings. Even if unknowingly, unintentionally, what to speak of deliberately, if we have caused some inconvenience, some kind of difficulty, some heartburn to somebody, and we come to know, then we should actually apologize or say, oh, this is actually my offense. So herein Ramananda Rai says that. By your presence, Ramananda Rai says, by your presence, my home has been purified. Please tell me how may I serve you? I am a servant. This is what Ramananda Rai says. Though Ramananda Rai is such a great, exalted person, he was a very highly placed, he was a governor of a province, and he is the recipient of Lord Chaitanya's mercy, but his behavior is extremely humble. Pradyumna Mishra speaks now. Mishra kahe to ma dekhite haila agamane apana pavitra kailu to mara darshane. So Pradyumna Mishra says, actually I came to just see you, to have your darshan. Now that I have seen you, I have been purified. So he did not say that I have come to hear Krishna Katha. He just spoke that I just came to have a darshan. Now I am purified. So therefore he left by saying that. Why did he not say that I have come to hear Krishna Katha? For two reasons. One thing, it was already late. So he had to go home, do his evening duties and so on and so forth. So it was already late. Secondly, he was not sure whether he should hear Krishna Katha from him, hearing his activities, how he was personally serving these two Devakanyas. And so hearing the activities from the servant, Pradyumna Mishra wanted to be doubly assured whether he should hear from Ramananda Raya or not. So next day again, Pradyumna Mishra comes to Lord Chaitanya, and as soon as he enters Lord Chaitanya's place, Lord Chaitanya asked him, "So, have you heard Krishna Katha from Ramananda Rai?" Lord was so eager to see that he hears Krishna Katha from Ramananda Rai. Then Pradyumna Mishra told everything that happened, right? What he heard. He went there, waited for several hours, and then he heard what all Ramananda Rai was doing. Hearing the activities of Ramananda Rai, Lord Chaitanya became ecstatic. He says, "Ramananda Rai ra katha shunva sarvajan kahi bar katha nahe ya ascharya kathan." He says, everyone, there were many other devotees sitting in the assembly, please hear the Katha of Ramananda Rai, his activities. That actually these activities are not fit to be talked in public. It's so astonishing, so wonderful. Ordinary people may just misunderstand him. So then Lord Chaitanya explained that how Sevya buddhiya rupiya karena sevan Svabhavik dasi bhav kare naropan. So Ramananda Rai is serving with the Sevya buddhi. He is totally in the mood of a maid servant of the gopis. So Prabhupada explains, these two Devadasis, they were supposed to act as gopis in front of Jagannath and express various ecstatic symptoms as composed in the drama of Ramananda Rai. So as a maid servant, identifying himself as a maid servant of the gopis, he was personally bathing them, massaging them, dressing them, ornamenting them, and so on and so forth. Lord Chaitanya says, and Ramananda Rai does this daily. Pratidin Rai ache karaye sadhan, kaun jane shudra jeev kaha tahar man. That Pratidin, this Ramananda Rai is doing this daily. Who can understand kaun jane shudra jeev? The jeev whose intelligence is very small and flickering and addicted to sense gratification. How can that jiva understand these exalted activities of Ramananda Rai? Kaun jane shudra jeev kaha tahar man. Where is the mind of the jiva steeped in the filth of sense gratification, and where is the mind of Ramananda Rai absorbed in the mood of being maid servant of the gopis? Therefore, cannot understand. Simply, if one thinks of the activities of Ramananda Rai, one's mind will be agitated because our mind is steeped so low. So therefore, one cannot even think of these activities. Lord Chaitanya says, I am a sannyasi, I am detached, I consider myself virakt, but I cannot remain nirvikar like Ramananda Rai. He is totally unaffected. I am not at that level, Lord Chaitanya says. What to speak of touching women, even what to speak of seeing, when I hear the name of a woman, I experience some transformation, Lord Chaitanya says. So in this way, Lord Chaitanya, he highly glorifies Ramananda Rai. And he says, Eka Ramanande Rahai ei adhikar tate jani aprakirta deh tahar. Only Ramananda Rai has this adhikar. No one else can imitate Ramananda Rai. That person will actually be ruined if anyone tries to imitate. And then Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami says, Mahaprabhura Bhakta Ganera Durgama Mahima. The glory of Mahaprabhu's devotees is very durgam, very difficult to understand. Tahe Ramanandera Bhava Bhakti Prema Sima. And amongst that, the glory of Ramananda Rai is another limit, to extreme limit. So in general, the glory of Mahaprabhu's devotees is great, but the limit of the glories of Ramananda Rai is to another extent, is limitless. So in this way, Lord Chaitanya, he glorifies And he then says, how could Ramanand Rai remain so nirvikar? How could this be possible for him? Then Lord Chaitanya also recites another verse from Srimad Bhagavatam, that how the living entities can follow in the footsteps of Ramanand Rai. Right? Although we cannot imitate him, but how the jivas can follow in the footsteps of Ramanand Rai. And the Lord Chaitanya recites a very important verse from the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, from it's chapter 33. Vikriditam vrajavadubhiridam cha Vishnu Shraddhanvito nushunayad atavarnayedya Bhaktim param bhagavati pratilabhya kamam hidrogamashvapehenottya chirena dhira. So if Vikriditam vrajavadubhiridam cha Vishnu, so if one hears these activities of Lord Krishna in relation to his devotees, his pure devotees, with Shraddhanvito Anushunayad, with faith, and also one hears Anushunayad means one hears from the proper authorities, from the right person. Then that person gradually, by proper hearing, by proper cultivation in this way, that person will be gradually freed from this Hridaya Rog, this lust of the heart, and gradually become purified and be able to appreciate this. So, saying all this, glorifying Ramanand Rai, Lord Chaitanya again tells Pradyumna Mishra, Amihai Rai Rasthane Shuni Krishna Katha Shunite Ichha Hai Yadi Punayaha Tatha. So therefore I hear from Ramanand Rai Krishna Katha, and if you really want to hear, once again go to him. And now Lord Chaitanya says, you tell him that I have sent you to him. Mor naam lehi ate ho pathai la more tomar sthane Krishna katha shuni bharatare. You explicitly mentioned to Ramanand Rai that Lord Chaitanya has sent me to hear Krishna katha from you. Why the Lord says that? He says, you give my reference. So you give my reference, so therefore, first of all, you will not have to wait for a long time. Reference works everywhere. So he will prioritize. He will prioritize you. As soon as I have sent it to you, so then you will be in the top priority list. And he will then, give his best. Basically, reference works everywhere. Not in just the material world, even in the spiritual world. Actually, if you have a good reference, then your case is strong. So Lord Chaitanya says, now you give my reference and you will be successful. So Ramanand Rai will prioritize speaking Krishna Katha to you. Not just that, he will give his best to you. So therefore, go to him. Go to him fast before he goes for another practice. He still is in his meeting room. So you go fast, Lord Chaitanya tells Pradyumna Mishra. So Pradyumna Mishra again goes and he sees Ramanand Rai is there in his meeting room, and as soon as Ramanand Rai sees, he offers his obeisances and say, please instruct me, how do I serve you? Ramanand Rai asks Pradyumna Mishra, Vishraka he Mahaprabhu pathai la more tomara sthane Krishna katha shuni bharatare. Mahaprabhu has sent me to hear Krishna katha from you. That is the first words of Pradyumna Mishra. Shuni Ramanand Rai haila prema veshe. So as soon as Ramanand Rai heard that Mahaprabhu has sent, he became filled with ecstatic love. He became so obliged, basically. And became filled with ecstasy. Ramanand Rai spoke. He said, Prabhu Ragya Krishna Katha Shunite Aila Etha Iha Vai Mahabhagya Ami Pabakotha. It is certainly my great fortune that Mahaprabhu has sent you to hear Krishna Katha from me. He has actually, he is making me an instrument once again to speak Krishna Katha. So he has considered me worth. He has given some meaning to my life by again thinking that, by again engaging me in some service. So this is the mood of Ramanand Rai. So he doesn't feel, okay, I'm going to be the speaker of Krishna Katha. that my life is worth once again to have the opportunity to serve Mahaprabhu's instructions. So Ramananda is filled with great ecstasy. Saying this, Ramananda Rai took him to a solitary place, is mentioned. He was not sitting in the meeting room because so many people may come. So he took him to another place which was solitary, and then he asked, yes, so what do you want to hear? Krishna Katha is like an ocean. What do you want to hear in Krishna Katha? Teho kahe ye kahila vidya nagare sei kratha krame tumi kahiba amare. You spoke Krishna Katha to Mahaprabhu in Vidyanagar. That chapter 8, Madhya Leela. So will you please speak that Krishna Katha to me also? And then he says, after expressing specifically what you want to hear, but then he says, actually, you speak what you consider is best for me. Bhalamand ki chuami puchite na jani, dine dekhi kripa kari kahiba apani. So he says, you speak what you consider is best for me. Bhalamand ki chuami puchite na jani. I don't know whether I have asked too high a topic. Speak Ramananda Rai Samvad, Lord Chaitanya. But you see my capacity. Dina dekhi, I am very poor at heart. If I ask for something too high, then you speak something, can tone it down. Speak something what you consider is the best for me. So this is a very beautiful mood. Even Sanatana Goswami expressed the same mood to Lord Chaitanya. So you speak what you consider is the best. Thus Ramananda Rai began speaking Krishna Katha to Pradyumna Mishra. Tabe Ramananda krame kahite lagila Krishna Katha rasamrita sindhu utha lila. Ramananda Rai began discussing Krishna Katha, began speaking Krishna Katha, and it's mentioned that in the ocean of the mellows of Krishna Katha, it's like an ocean, so in the Bhakti Rasa Amrit Sindhu, there was high tide, one after another. So Prabhupada writes, there was a great agitation in the ocean of the transcendental mellows. So there is the ocean of transcendental mellows, and there was one high tide after another high tide. There's a great agitation. In this material world, we only experience the agitation in this ocean of miseries. One agitation after another agitation. One tide after another tide. But there is another ocean. There is the ocean of transcendental mellows, ocean of Krishna Bhakti. And there are tides over there, as being mentioned over here. So they were being drowned, they were being swept away, both the speaker and the hearer, in this agitation of the ocean of transcendental mellows. And it's mentioned specifically, Ramananda Rai was posing the question himself, and he was answering. Several times he posed questions and then himself answered. This is called rhetoric. Rhetoric. This is one kind of interactive method of teaching to make the teaching interesting. You pose a question and then let the audience think for some time, and then you yourself answer. So in a very interesting way, Ramananda Rai is speaking Krishna Katha, and it became again late afternoon. And both of them did not realize how several hours have passed. Probably 5 to 6 hours have passed at least. So, Vakta Shrota kahe shune duhe prema veshe. So, Vakta and Shrota, they are having this kahe shune. Probably Pradyumna Mishra is also. There is interactive, interactive Krishna Katha is happening for sure. Because it's mentioned, Vakta Shrota kahe shune duhe prema veshe. So they are discussing, talking, hearing, and both are totally absorbed. How will they notice the passing of time? The sun is about to set. It's the evening time has come. Because they're so absorbed, they have forgotten themselves. Then how can they keep track of time? But the servant intervened. Because the servant had to complete his duties, and go. So the servant intervened. Many times, like some program is going on, if you go some hall, you will take some rented hall. Sometimes the speaker forgets the time, and those who are servants there who are serving, they remind Maharaj ji, कितने बजे खत्म कर रहे हैं? Because they have to clean up and go and everything. So the servant intervened, and he reminded that day is about to pass. And then they came to external consciousness, and it's mentioned then Ramanand Rai, Sevaka kahila din haila avasan, tabe Rai Krishna katha karila vishram. So then Ramanand Rai gave vishram to katha. It's not mentioned he ended. So you see many Hindi speakers, they say हम कथा को यहाँ पे विराम देते हैं. Viram means we pause Krishna katha over here, not full stop. Viram means pause, give a pause. So similarly the same word is used. So Ramanand Rai, he paused the Krishna katha over there, or he rested Krishna katha karila vishram. And then again he honored Pradyumna Mishra. The speaker honored the hearer. He greatly honored him. And Pradyumna Mishra was so happy. He was so joyful hearing Krishna Katha. Then and there he started dancing. Can you imagine? Just by the remembrance that I heard such amazing Krishna Katha, Pradyumna Mishra started dancing over there only. And then, after dancing for some time, after expressing his joy, he went home, took his evening bath, did his sandhya, honored prasadam, and then he came, that very evening he came to the assembly of Lord Chaitanya. As soon as he entered Lord Chaitanya's assembly, Prabhu ra charan vande ulasit man, Prabhu kahe Krishna katha haila shravan. So he was, with great happiness, he worshipped the lotus feet of Lord Chaitanya, and Lord Chaitanya said, so, could you hear Krishna Katha? Mishra ka he Prabhu more kritartha karila, Krishna Katha amritarnave more dubaila. He said, my Lord, you have made my life successful. Not just you have made my day. You have made my life successful. You have made me take a dip, take a deep dive actually. I could take a deep dive in the ocean of Krishna Katha, in the association of Ramanand Rai. And most of us, we stand on the shore and sometimes taste particle of a drop of it, so on and so forth. That also is glorious, no doubt. But by the mercy of Lord Chaitanya, he could take a deep dive in this ocean, and if he says, my life has become successful, Ramananda Rai katha kahile nahai, Manushya nahe Rai Krishna bhakti rasamai. He said, I cannot glorify Ramananda Rai sufficiently. He's not Manushya, he's not an ordinary human being. His body is not made up of the bone, the flesh and the blood. He is Krishna bhakti rasamai. Krishna bhakti ras is flowing oth-proth in him, in his veins, his arteries. Krishna bhakti ras is totally flowing. So he highly glorifies Ramanand Rai, and then he says, one more thing Ramanand Rai told me. Ar ek katha Rai kahila amare, Krishna katha vakta kari na jani ha more. He said, Pradyumna said, Ramanand Rai told me one more thing. Don't consider me the speaker of Krishna katha. More mukhe katha kahena apane Gaura Chandra. Yaiche kahai taiche kahi jena vina yantra. Lord Chaitanya is actually speaking Krishna Katha through me. He is speaking through my mouth. And then he says, Ye sab shuni lu Krishna rasera sagar Brahma adi devere e sab naha e gochar. He said, what I heard from Ramanand Rai, even Lord Brahma has no capacity to understand. But I could hear, I could appreciate it by mercy of Ramanand Rai, who says it's all your mercy. You were speaking, so therefore I am so grateful to you. He says, Prabhu kahe Ramanand vinay rakhani apanar katha par munde dena ani. Lord Chaitanya says, Ramanand Rai is a mine of humility. He has attributed his words to another's intelligence. And then Lord Chaitanya says, Mahanubhave Rai sahaj sabhava hai, apnar gun nahi apna kahai. This is the nature of the great personalities. They do not speak of their good qualities as their own. They attribute it to others. So, in this way, Lord Chaitanya glorified Ramanand Rai, and Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami says, Ei sab gun tar prakash karite, mishre pathaila taha shravana karite. He wanted to glorify Ramanand Rai. He wanted to make his glories known to everyone, and therefore he sent Padmana Mishra to Ramanand Rai. Bhakta gun prakashite prabhu bhal jane, nana bhangite gun prakashi nij labh mane. So Lord Chaitanya, he knows very well how to glorify his devotees, how to give credit to his devotees, and he devises various ways and means. He finds out many innovative ways to do that. To glorify his devotees, give them credit, to make his devotee the hero of some episode, as Prabhupada says. And then he considered that to be his personal profit. So that is the nature of Lord Chaitanya, and that is the nature of the Lord in general. That is also the nature of his pure devotees. Narad Muni, he instructed Dhruva Maharaj in devotional service. By the mercy and empowerment of Narad Muni, Dhruva achieved what he even had not achieved as a boy. Narad Muni had the darshan of the Lord within his heart. Right? And then the darshan broke, and the Lord spoke that, now will not see me again in this life. But Dhruva, by the empowerment of Narad Muni, he not just had darshan of the Lord within his heart, he saw the Lord face to face. He saw the Lord face to face. So Dhruva actually, by the mercy of Narada, excelled the fortune of Narada. It's mentioned that Narada, on his Veena, he started glorifying Dhruva Maharaj. He started traveling and glorifying, and he went to the assembly of Prachetas also, much after that. And he was glorifying the activities of Dhruva, calling his own disciple as his Prabhu, and glorifying his activities, relishing. So he empowered Dhruva, and Dhruva excelled him, and Narad Muni is taking great pleasure in that. So this is amazing bhakti rasa actually. We should try to taste this kind of rasa, that we help, support, we try to empower other devotees and take pleasure in seeing that they are excelling.
Thinking I'm gonna start cutting carbs. I need to drop my belly fat.
Here's the most interesting weight loss fact I learned in the last decade.
They are even outdoing ourselves. So Lord Chaitanya relishes, Lord Krishna relishes, his pure devotee relishes. And Prabhupada also says in the same purport, I'll just conclude with this beautiful purport of Prabhupada, where he says, this Krishna consciousness movement is spreading now all over the world, and sometimes I think that even though I am crippled in many ways, if one of my disciples becomes as strong as Dhruva Maharaj, then he will be able to carry me with him to Vaikuntha Loka. So Prabhupada here, wishes that his disciple will excel him, and on the strength of their bhakti, they will be able to carry him, just like Dhruva Maharaj carried his mother to Vaikuntha Loka. So we see in many examples of Srimad Bhagavatam this principle of being empowering others, right? And relishing when that person even excels one's own self, and that's as I said, that's another level of bhakti rasa, another level of mellow, which the Lord tastes, which is pure devotee taste. So we can pray for this quality of seeing other devotees, excelling, and we can take that role of helping them, supporting them, empowering them in every possible way. जय ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय, निताई गौर प्रेमानंदे। हरे कृष्ण।
Hare Krishna. Thank you everybody for joining in today. I really appreciate your presence today. And I don't know how, but I have lost. Okay, go back to Zoom. Hare Krishna. I hope you've enjoyed today's session as much as I did. It was fantastic, just getting us in the mood for Gaur Leela. Hare Krishna, Gayatri Mataji and the rest of the devotees. We can end our session here, and I'd like to acknowledge the presence of Anandavardhana Prabhu. Hare Krishna Prabhuji, thank you for joining today.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Did you meet Maharaj today?